On the outskirts of the town stood an old, derelict house. The house had been abandoned for many years, and the people of the town had long since stopped going near it. But one day 3 teenagers, Tom, Sarah and Jack, decided to spend the night in the abandoned house, just for the thrill of it. When they entered the house, they were struck by how creepy and scary it was. The windows were boarded up. Everything was covered with a layer of dust. The air was thick and heavy, and a horrible aura pervaded, but they brushed it aside and began to explore the house. As night fell, strange things began to happen. Doors opened and closed on their own, and creaking noises came from the attic. They heard strange noises coming from the walls and floor, and the hairs on the backs of their necks stood on end. They decided that it was only their imagination and went on exploring the house. However, when they went deeper into the house, they found that they were trapped. All the doors and windows were locked from the outside, and they could not get out. They searched for a way out, but to no avail. A few hours passed and the teenagers began to feel frightened. They knew they were not alone in the house. They heard whispers and footsteps coming from the darkness, but no matter how hard they tried, they could not find the source of the sounds. Exploring the house, they found themselves in a room that was different from the others. The walls were decorated with an inverted cross and the floor was painted a deep reddish color. The corners of the ceiling were strewn with blood and the stench of decomposition filled the air. As the night progressed, the teenagers became more and more aware of a presence in the house. They sensed that someone or something was watching them from the shadows. And then, huddled in one of the rooms, they saw the silhouette of a woman. She stood in the doorway, her long hair flowing down her back and her eyes glowing in the darkness. The teenagers froze in fear as they watched the woman slowly approach them. As she came closer, they saw that her skin was white as snow and her dress was tattered and torn. The teenagers tried to run away, but the woman blocked their way. They found themselves trapped in the room with her, and she began to move towards them. Slowly at first, and then faster and faster until she was right in front of them. Then, just as suddenly as she had appeared, the woman vanished into thin air. The teenagers were left alone in the room, shaking with fear. They spent the rest of the night huddled together, afraid to move. When morning came, they were found tied to a tree in the forest, with no memory of how they got there. To this day, no one knows what happened to the teenagers in the abandoned house. Some say they fell prey to a vengeful spirit. Others believe they stumbled upon something far more sinister.